Since the dawn of time and gaming, women have been depicted beautiful and sexy, but now in 2025, a new reality emerges. Behold the new and degraded image of women. This has been going on for years, but now we get an exclusive behind the scenes look from a developer who contacted smashjt, giving him and us a direct look at Unreal Engine 5 original preset for women. It looks like the engine itself is designed with a manly woman in mind. I'm a woman, so what the heck do I think? We are looking at the footage from smashjt right now and his video linked down below so you can see it the way it's meant to be seen and give him full credit for that. As you can see here, Abby as well, one of the first examples of this. She even had a freaking, oh my god, it's so ugly, hold on. So Abby, she even had freaking armpit hair. I just can't. It's so freaking disgusting. And I really like Horizon Zero Dawn, guys, but this is absolutely hideous. I can't stand it. She used to look pretty good. I mean, not like an amazing, sexy freaking woman, but very decent, pretty enough. It's so good. Not all characters need to be supermodels because that's also way over the top sometimes. It just depends on the game. Now, this character here looks just like Brie Larson. Okay, moving on. And this is one of the ugliest characters I have ever seen, ever. I cannot emphasize enough. She doesn't have any boobs. Freaking where are the boobs? And what is this face? I mean, was she like run over by 5 dragons and then they also spit on her with their fire breath or puked on her 300 times? Then a knight just tapped her in the face? Like, what the heck? I can't even. And of course, this is freaking Mary Jane, who used to be a very sexy girl, pretty much looking like me. I mean, I even cosplayed Mary Jane, actually. So there's that, I mean, and the new Star Wars blah character. Let's hear from smashjt real quick.
The other day, I got a message from somebody looking to expose the inner workings of the man jaw, this man jaw that continues to appear. And while many people initially, including myself, were looking at the developers and saying, oh, these developers are woke and they're trying to inject some sort of androgynous looking person into these games and to see themselves, that's the real reason for it. Potentially, yes. But if you dig deeper, it's actually Epic Games and Unreal Engine, and the default characters that they give these developers aren't very, we'll just say, appealing to the feminine form.
Now let's hear from the developer herself.
It's just the ugliest thing you've ever seen, I think. So let's just undo that. I'll stick with her, but this really shows you just how god-awful some of these, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like the ideology infested tool. I don't have any of these issues when I create a male character. I can create male characters all day and they look great, but it takes forever to make someone look like this. And this is what they want it to look like instead. Like, what the hell is this? This is disgusting.
In a scathing expose, a video has been shared with me privately, and I have been given the okay to share this information publicly about a developer being very frustrated with how a tool generates female models by default. Models that, rather than appearing naturally feminine, instead start off looking like dudes. This developer, who asked me to remain anonymous, has also provided a video with proof of their findings and explained in full detail about Unreal's MetaHuman tool and how it is undeniably cutting edge when it comes to fidelity, with every pore, blemish, and skin reflection being rendered in stunning detail. But, and this is a very big but, as opposed to the models on the women that are anything but that, this comes at the cost of the base models being fundamentally unattractive and unappealing.
Yeah, I mean, freaking hell with the butt. I am developing my butt for years, especially this year. Started really training, like doing squats and, doing a lot more deadlifts. I had a period where I couldn't do that really, but now I'm onto it again. I'm creating a natural looking butt now. All of those that you can see on Instagram that are all with implants all over the place, and men for some reason think that that is real. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not. You can create your own very real butt. It's gonna be muscular, it's going to be in proportion with your body, and your hips are gonna be there, well, if you have the hourglass structure, of course, but you're not gonna be looking like an anime character that had a child with Kim Kardashian, basically, who also has 500 tons of implants. So we do want, I mean, most of us want to see realistically beautiful women with the hourglass figure that are also athletic. that's the best from both worlds. You will have the femininity and you will have the athletic physique at the same time. Because if you only have the athletic physique, then she's just going to be flat as a board. And there's something called, well, bone structure. And some women do have very flat physiques, but we don't actually want to see that represented in gaming, because why would we want that? Why wouldn't we want to have the best of the best? It is escapism. Games are a stress relief. You're not supposed to be looking at ugly things. You're supposed to be looking at perfection. And when we take a look at the new game Mecha Break, you see what actually could be done in this realm of female femininity and perfection. And it's pretty freaking impressive. Just look at this. The Chinese developer Amazing Season Games are developing Mecha Break, and it is amazing that another Chinese developer actually are going above and beyond to give us a quality game. And we are going to see that later on with other games and from other Asian developers, Korean developers as well. So how can they still keep the integrity of the female body and of women in general? Because that is respect. That's real respect. When you actually create beautiful female characters, it is not respectful for us as women gamers and to the human freaking race to see women that don't look like women are supposed to be looking like. You're supposed to see like the best of humanity on screen. That is how it should be. And if anyone feels that that is not them, well, even if you're born with the best feminine physique, with the perfect ratio, that I am born, yes, with that type of a physique, but I'm working hard for it. I never let myself go. I'm sustaining a great physique for 10 years, and I'm also helping other people to do so, and that requires a ton of knowledge, a ton of years of experience since I was a teen, a ton of willpower and discipline that you are developing to keep your physique in the best top shape possible all the freaking time without going crazy and suffering all that much. But that requires a lot. So I'm not here just sitting on my butt being like, oh, my butt is gonna be perfectly fine and if I do not exercise. No, there's no such thing. If I want to emphasize what God gave me, I gotta work for it. I gotta emphasize what I have to develop it, literally. Even if you have the worst possible bone structure, you can still make the best of that. There's no excuse. You can make the best possible body that you can make. That was on a side note. I'm telling you that it is possible, it's realistic. I don't want to hear all of that. Oh, it's not realistic, Gary. You know, you can even do that with a lot less money than you think. I once wrote under Katie Sackhoff's video, you know, Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica, Riddick, and other things. Well, she was struggling with her diet. I actually wrote under her video what she could do about it to just fix her problem. She actually replied to me and she was like, hey, thank you very much. I didn't think about that. It's amazing. So I was totally honored by this. Now, continuing to the topic, I'm just saying it's possible, guys. That is the point. In Western games is where they are taking better looking women and turning their models in the games into a horrible looking potato sacks instead of the good looking women that they actually are in real life. So here you go. That's another example. They're actually taking good looking women and making them look terrible on freaking purpose. And that's not okay. Who are we making to feel better about ugly-looking female characters? Well, the only people that could feel better about that are people with a lot of insecurities who are not okay with themselves, so they want the whole world to suffer. And that has to be fixed. That is something that has to do with mental health. Such an issue should not be imposed on the whole freaking world. So we can all suffer because small percentage of people cannot live with themselves. You gotta get the grip, you gotta be better, you gotta strive to be better, you gotta join the other people that are better. You know, you gotta be one of them. For you, for yourself. And stop pushing others down and other things that are good in life down.
I thought this was worth showing. This is the MetaHuman tool that Unreal Engine provides for creating realistic characters. And here's a woman I created recently, and I'm quite happy with her, but it's, you know, like there's a lot of detail, and I think the shape is really nice, looks very appealing and feminine. But you have to try, you know, very hard to get her to look like this. I had to do what's called the mesh to MetaHuman workflow, which is to import a custom mesh. You actually can't really create someone who looks like this from scratch using the characters they give you. They're actually a lot of them are actually quite ugly, I find. And so I have to use an alternate workflow to get in a different looking mesh to start with, and then I can sculpt it to the way I want it.
The starting point for these female characters is unnaturally androgynous, and it takes a tremendous amount of effort on the wireframing of the face to contort it to look more like a woman. That right there is the problem with everything. It all requires extensive tweaking and significant efforts from the artists themselves just to achieve a traditionally feminine look.
Right now it's set to 1, which is using my mesh, and if I set it to 0 and using theirs, this is what they want to do.
And as you see in the video, one of the most striking features of this is the jawline and the facial structure of MetaHuman's female models. The prominence of the jawline, high foreheads, and heavy-set features read far more masculine when you're watching it. These features just aren't minor quirks. They require a considerable amount of work from the game artists to reshape it into something that would finally actually resemble what we would consider a woman. If realism was truly the goal with all of this, why do all the male characters still retain their broad shoulders, strong chins, and well-defined muscles? Why does inclusivity always seem to disproportionately affect female character designs? Do we even need a tinfoil hat on at this point when we're looking at this stuff to realize that the agenda that's being pushed is pretty obvious? The issue here, at least from my perspective, isn't just about aesthetics. It affects how games are perceived, how players connect with characters, and how even the industry's creative direction has taken a turn for the worse. If tools like this MetaHuman always default to making women look androgynous or masculine, then all these studios that rely on them will intentionally or unintentionally, depending on the talent working there, push this slop of aesthetics directly onto the players. And we are seeing the end result in it with almost every single game we see come out right now, especially from the West. It's no wonder that we're seeing more games with unappealing female protagonists that fail to resonate with audiences. When character artists have to fight upstream against the grain, against the very tools that they're using to make a woman look like a woman, it's no surprise to anyone that we keep getting female characters who look like they were designed by a committee rather than artists with an eye for appeal. It all makes perfect sense now. At its core, it isn't just a minor technical issue, it's a philosophical one. Gaming has always been a blend about art and technology pushed together, and at the core of society at large since gaming's inception. But when the tools being provided to the artists are actively working against the artists themselves, it raises some serious concerns about the future of gaming. If MetaHuman and Unreal Engine continue down this path, we're bound to see a future where all female characters have to conform to this flat, androgynous, and realistic look. Hell, some would even argue that we're already living in that very future right now. Game studios have lost their ability to creatively visualize what a female character looks like and be distinctive with appealing characters simply because their tools aren't allowing it, or their artists are too lazy or untalented to be able to do any better. Maybe it's a time issue. Maybe it's a mental issue. Maybe it's someone that's trying to push an ideology on someone. Whatever the reason is, the fact of the matter is, it keeps happening.
I would say it's a ton more leaning toward the ideology when we're talking about Western games. Now, take a look at Black Myth Wukong. This is one of the best games that I ever played. I went through it 3 times. I slapped all the bosses. People said that there are no women in the game at the beginning. No one has reached that point of the game where women actually were found, and a lot of them, and they all looked absolutely beautiful. Now, this game started initially with Unreal Engine 4, but it went to Unreal Engine 5. So they had to have had some kind of a transition here in the technical terms, but they did do whatever possibly they could have done to retain women's beauty in this game, and they totally succeeded. So kudos to them. That is amazing. So in the future, guys, it is obvious that we are going to see a ton of beautiful characters from the non-Western studios and a horrible looking female characters from the Western gaming studios, which is super sad. I really hope that since the tides have turned in America since President Donald Trump got into power that things are going to go back to normal and we're going to see actual beautiful people, but we'll see, guys. Now watch this next, and of course check out the links down below to smashjt. I want to personally say thank you to him for his amazing contribution to the gaming world. Love you guys. Bye bye.
Destruction. It's horrible.